Setting up my other channel. Give me 1 second. And since we being about our marathon, I'm gonna help y'all stay focused. I'm gonna help y'all stay focused real quick. Just in case you're saying, what marathon? This marathon. Be about your marathon at all costs.
A fact. 32 extendos in my Mac. Spend 1,000 on some t-shirts up at Saks. I ain't nothing like you rap. Hustle man, a shooter, that's a fact. 32 extendos in my Mac. Spend 1,000 on some t-shirts up at Saks. V12 in the valet, black on black. SA in the valley, do my tax. White boy in Manhattan, pay my tax. Look, drive out to the headlights to relax. I stopped smoking weed and I relapsed. Travel around the world and I came back. Worth a couple million, that's a fact. But I am nothing like you rap. I own all the rights to all my raps. German place with sheepskin on my mats. Murder rate increasing if I snap. Ain't no hanging out, we tape y'all off and double back. Open trust accounts, deposit racks. $1 million life insurance on my flesh. Beamers, Benz, Bentleys or a Lex. Rory's in them Lambos, that's what's next. I ain't nothing like you rap. Hustle man, a shooter, that's a fact. 32 extendos in my Mac. Spend 1,000 on some t-shirts up at Saks. I ain't nothing like you rap. Hustle man, a shooter, that's a fact. 32 extendos in my Mac. Spend 1,000 on some t-shirts up at Saks. AMG Mercedes back to back. Chopper to his face, now that's a rap. Streets talking, that's a rap. A PO call you up, look, that's a trap. Beat that case, that was that. Told the world, look, I'm back. Signed my deal, then I cracked. They folded, so I left. Can't a motherfucker tell me this shit. We the no limit of the West. Percy Miller at his best. Jigger with the rollie and the vest. Acne jeans and Giuseppe's. Serving fiends off the steps. Murder sprees for the set. All facts ain't no mother threat. I ain't nothing like you rap. Hustle man, a shooter, that's a fact. 32 extendos in my Mac. Spend 1,000 on some t-shirts up at Saks. I ain't nothing like you rap. Hustle man, a shooter, that's a fact. 32 extendos in my Mac. Spend 1,000 on some t-shirts up at Saks.
Be about that marathon at all costs. That's the marathon we're talking about. Hold up. Got one more for you.
Intelligence was viewed as a form of weakness. How do you get the people that's really affected by, you know, what we trying to solve involved.
Yeah. Family broken, so I stand with my niggas. Showed up to every shootout, but I ran for my feelings. No time for those, I got a plan to get millions. Whoever don't agree, I see you back at the buildings. That's why I never let y'all act like a victim. That's why I never let y'all kill my ambition. You wasn't built for the mission. Mark my colors in the back of the village. Remember Tony started washing them dishes. It was all a decision. Fast died, he took a part of me with him. Heart broken like my artery missing. Just fuck all of you niggas. Team broke, they can't harvest you, nigga. Swore shit, it got a heart to it, nigga.
I used to know you were gon' fold them. I used to know that I could count on you. All that pressure they bestowed on. Pray my son never face what I go through. Yeah. Get it, don't wear the crown right. And if it be feeling like what it feel like. Now my life was a struggle and it get worse, I ain't complaining about it. I just can't never feel the same about it. My life built on damage, can't understand it, can't call family, no. Got crossed by my closest, I ain't gon' show too much emotion, no. My little one call my phone, I pick her right away. I know I'm living wrong if it's the right way. I was too busy trying to get heavy, I was lightweight. A lot of niggas that came in with me ain't on my side today. I been trying to leave some of these songs in case I die today. Every time I need something lean on, I drink that spot away. So it don't feel how it feels to me. Cause I've been through it and it did what it did to me. I trusted you and that was big for me. That's my little partner, you do that big for me. And I ain't never jumped in my feelings out here. I used to know that I used to know that I could count on you. All that pressure they bestowed on. Pray my son never face what I go through. Yeah. Get it, don't wear the crown right. And if it be feeling like what it feel like. Now my life was a struggle and it get worse, I ain't complaining about it. I just can't never feel the same about it.
Mathematical mogul, marathoning, making moves, taking the heartbreaking news, made major breaking news. Nephews, nieces, siblings, seeds, they confused. Waking up, shaking, aching, praying that it's April Fools. Chosen child from the now down, stakes is huge. Snakes and fakes straddling the gate, it's too late to choose. Through violent visions, gave victory, paid your dues. Motivated, demonstrated, elevated views. Truths don't die, we multiply. I ain't make the rules. Self-medicate, meditate, and celebrate the blues. Neighborhood, roller coaster, you can take the cruise, I'm good. Blue laces, suede Puma's favorite shoes. Jesus to the generations, you never save me on my babies. Most beautiful gift Pluto ever gave me. For such a precious life, who decides price? I couldn't view the slide twice, cause they crucified Christ.
I used to know that I could count on you. All that pressure they bestowed on. Pray my son never face what I go through. Yeah. Get it, don't wear the crown right. And if it be feeling like what it feel like. Now my life was a struggle and it get worse, I ain't complaining about it. I just can't never feel the same about it. My life built on damage, can't understand it, can't call family, no. Got crossed by my closest, I ain't gon' show too much emotion, no. My little one call my phone, I pick her right away. I know I'm living wrong if it's the right way. I was too busy trying to get heavy, I was lightweight. A lot of niggas that came in with me ain't on my side today. I been trying to leave some of these songs in case I die today. Every time I need something lean on, I drink that spot away. So it don't feel how it feels to me. Cause I've been through it and it did what it did to me. I trusted you and that was big for me. That's my little partner, you do that big for me. And I ain't never jumped in my feelings out here. I used to know that I could count on you. All that pressure they bestowed on. Pray my son never face what I go through. Yeah. Get it, don't wear the crown right. And if it be feeling like what it feel like. Now my life was a struggle and it get worse, I ain't complaining about it. I just can't never feel the same about it.
All right.
I'm out.
Hold up. What's still playing? Something's still playing in the background. Yo, what I'm gonna do here today, something's playing somewhere. Hold on, y'all. I gotta find it. What I'm gonna do here today in this live is what every single last male on the planet, every single last one of my people should be engaged in. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. I got a video playing in the background. Something playing.
Now, you can think that I'm being a little too harsh, but please know that I need to break through to you because I want to. Okay? Quick exercise. Place your hands on your stomach right now. Come on, do this. Place your hands on your stomach. Now, where is most of the fat located? Is it on the front? Is it on the side? Maybe your back? Grab the belly fat. Is it a pinch or can you grab the fat? Get a full hand.
Oh.
Now, how long have you been struggling with everything that's in your hand? And why haven't you taken care of it? Losing weight does not always mean. Losing weight does not mean salads 3 times a day.
Oh man, where is that?
The whole, that's easy for you to say, this isn't about me. This is about the thousands of people worldwide that I've been fortunate enough to be able to help with their weight loss goals, allowing you to eat real food all day long, yet still lose weight faster than you ever have. There is a simple way to it was 12 weeks, like Jackman did for the Wolverine. But to transform himself into the superhero, Jackman followed some of the secrets that I'll reveal to you. Chris Pratt went from the chubby, lovable Andy.
Yo, I cannot find this video. Where's that?
What's their secret? They ruthlessly cut through the fluff and the BS. They have zero time to waste because their next film role is starting in just a few weeks. So they can't waste time on the wrong program. Is fruit bad for your diet? You should know that the advice to eat plenty of fruit is gravely exactly where.
Shut up. Snake right here. My bad, yo. All right. So, right here, I'm about to address a current issue. We're in the midst of a virus. We're in the midst of a virus. And we got a studio, Tyler Perry studio. That put a plan in place to get his content back up and running and produced. All right. We have a studio. We have a individual who creates content. And what I'm gonna show you in this live session is when you can't differentiate between the content that's being created, when our community, when we reward these content creators, Tyler Perry, Hollywood, Jay-Z, when we reward these content creators, there is a price. There is a price for everything that you cop. It's called the opportunity cost. Everything that you cop and you consume, there's a price associated with every purchasing decision that you make. And collectively, our community made a purchasing decision over 25 years ago. Collectively, our community made a purchasing decision over 25 years ago that's destroying our women, it's destroying our families, and it's proof that there is an absence and a loss of manhood in our communities, and I'm gonna show it to you. By one simple purchasing decision, casting your vote to consume content, making a statement to one group of content creators that, yo, we want you to keep producing this content, and saying to the other content creator, we think you lost. We're not gonna support you economically. We're not gonna support you financially. We're not gonna support you with, in the public, stating that your values, your stance, your character reflects ours. There is a price to be paid when you reward these content creators with your consumption. And then when the content that they're creating has a destructive, negative effect, you cannot then run around here and complain and cry and moan and act like a victim. You consumed it. You cast your vote. You've been casting your vote for over 25 years. You've been casting your vote to these content creators saying, yo, keep producing that content. Keep making that statement about our women. Keep making that statement about morals. Keep making in one decision over 25 years ago. Colorism and how they pit light-skinned and dark-skinned women is rooted in this horrible decision that y'all made 25 years ago. They flipped the image of the mammy in blackface in the 1820s with the image of the whore. Before it was you were a mockery, you women of color, when they depicted you as mammies. Now you're a mockery as a whore. And you keep telling the puppets and the puppet masters for over 25 years with your consumption that you want them to keep producing that content, and then the individuals who were putting out the content to call you queens, to talk about raising children, sons and daughters right. You abandoned, you neglected. I'm gonna show it to you right here today. And then you got this movement. You got so many, the people of color, they all over the place. They all over the place. You got Black Lives Matter, you got the NAACP, you got all these people out here, you got all these people. And then there's this new movement called ADOS. ADOS. African descendants of slaves. You got this new movement out here talking about reparations. All they focusing on is reparations. ADOS. And they saying, we are the African descendants of slaves, and we're coming to the slave master. We're saying, give us reparations. Yeah, I like to see how that's going to work out. You show me one time in history where an oppressed people went to their oppressor. You can't show me one time in history that has worked. Yet our people are always fooled by any movement Yet we got a track record, a historical track record of individuals who have been in bondage who was set free. We know how the track record goes. ADOS don't have a track record. Nobody has a track record. And the only reason our people are still enslaved right now is because they won't go back to the blueprint. See, one thing we know how to do, we know how to compete. We don't care what sport it is. I ain't never been on a losing team. Never. Never. One thing we know how to do, we know how to compete. We know how to read offenses and read defenses. We know how to make adjustment mid-game. We know how to go into the locker room at halftime, look at film, what's looking at film? Looking at the historical record of how many times we played this team, of how many times they played somebody else, of what has worked and what has not worked. We always go in at halftime, we look at film and we make the adjustment and we come out and we dominate. And if people were serious about your daughters and your families and your wives, if people were serious about it, and people would do that which has worked. But because y'all let certain individuals tell y'all that they wrote certain books or that they are the people who were in certain stories, y'all let some liars tell y'all. Every bit of history, you let the liar tell y'all. Of all shades and colors, you got more liars in people of color about history than you do people of non-color. So the number one thing killing our peoples. Check this out. Share the screen again.
The placing of the boy in the cage with a monkey is an outrage. The Negro race in America has a hard enough time as it is in getting away from the prejudice that is closely related to the monkey without having a member of the race placed on exhibition.
Leading men of science from Harvard and Princeton and Columbia University were saying that Africans were midway between an orangutan and a human being. So
y'all see those institutions? It said Columbia, Harvard. The science departments at Columbia, Harvard.
America has a hard enough time as it is in getting away from the prejudice that is closely related to the monkey without having a member of the race placed on exhibition.
Leading men of science from Harvard and Princeton and Columbia University.
Harvard, Princeton, Columbia University, the leading university scientists from Harvard, Princeton, Columbia University. Now you have people of color. Barack Obama went to Harvard and Columbia University. Michelle Obama graduated from Princeton University. These institutions are the institutions that sold you social engineering. Social engineering is the political science application that applies Charles Darwin's theory of evolution that says only the strong will survive. So they created a myth and a lie, and then they socially engineered it with people of color writing the laws. This is a human zoo in the United States of America. In 1897, in Chicago State Fair and St. Louis State Fair in 1907. The individuals who wrote the laws leading up to this social engineering were people of color in the US Senate and Congress who wrote the black codes. You had more people of color who were senators in the United States of America and congressmen in the United States of America who wrote the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment, who wrote the loophole that they did convict leasing. And after they claim that they did Emancipation Proclamation, the period is called Reconstruction. 1865, they lie and they say, you have been emancipated. And then they went and wrote laws that allowed the European to create slavery by another name that's not attached to plantations, but that's attached to Social Security numbers, birth certificates, and a New York Stock Exchange. They globalized their slavery by another name, and they freed themselves from a geographical location stuck in the South, and they took their slavery worldwide, and people of color wrote the codes. Then, to sell the narrative in Hollywood and the worldwide, these same individuals did a human zoo to sell to the world that the people of color who were not the people of color writing the laws, meaning the blackamoors, you have a group of people who have written a fake history that when you accept the narrative that you are a slave, it came out of this movement in the 1900s. This is the same thing Constantine did when he could not defeat the gospel in 300 AD. The gospel was still spreading all throughout the world. What gospel? Of a Messiah that they said wasn't a Messiah that they killed 300 years ago. But 300 years later, you got Roman emperors who are about to lose their kingdom because they cannot stop the movement. So they simply told a different narrative that was a lie, meaning I'm a Christian, I'm a part of the joint, and they changed what it meant to be in that movement. They wrote a different story. They told myths, they told lies. And when the European couldn't come to the USA and clear the original inhabitants from the land, they simply created a narrative through human zoos and through entertainment, blackface. I'm going somewhere with the entertainment because I'm about to get to the Nas and Jay-Z beef. The same entities that are behind making Jay-Z the king of New York are the same entities that these black people went to Congress and wrote laws to put the Aryans as supreme. That's what Charles Darwin is selling in his theory of evolution, the Aryan world, the Aryan lifestyle. And you have people of color who made that Aryan dream a reality. So you have people of color who created white supremacy. I'm gonna say it again. People of color called the Blackamoors. They came on the scene in 700 AD and they're still here right now, and they built white supremacy. When you focus on the Aryan, you always gonna be a slave, because the true individual who worships the Aryan, who worships everything European, This is who Jay-Z is. When you look at his song, King of New York, he sing about De Niro. He sing about all of these. Listen, man.
Leading men of science from Harvard and Princeton and Columbia University was saying that Africans were midway between an orangutan and a human being. So 100 years later, it should not come as much of a surprise that many people still cling to.
And your problem is you identify with their slave brand names. You're not an African. They created Africa in 1885. You're not an African. You're not black. And because you have been trained and brainwashed to identify with the slave brand names that they, in their book, Charles Darwin wrote about Africans. God created Nubians. God didn't create Africans. So when they still today in 2020 use the slave brand names, Black Lives Matter, and then you respond, you are still a slave because you identify with something that the Creator has not called you. It don't matter what they wrote in books about Africans or about blacks or about Negroes. That ain't you. So they can write a story about slavery about Africans because they went somewhere and they drew a map and they said, this is Africa. But the land was something before they drew that map in 1885. The people were something before 1885. The people were something before Emperor Constantine. I don't know why it's so hard for our people to divorce themselves of Black, African American. I do not know why it is so hard. We're nowhere in the Word of God. I don't know why it's so hard for you to divorce yourself from white person, European. Europe is not in the Word of God. A European is not a person. It's a faith. It's a belief system. It's an idolatrous belief in a Greco-Roman goddess, which don't exist. But they got people checking boxes, talk about white, European. These terms don't exist. Black person don't exist. So you've just checked into their Hollywood, Disney fake world. And the reason you're still a slave is because you have not stepped back and said, yo, I'm created in the image of the Most High God. And he called me Nubian. He called me Cush. He called Cush Ethiopia. Can an Ethiopian change its skin? He said the Queen of Sheba will judge the final generation. He even told you that the Ethiopian queens will be the final say in the reparations that go down. And now we got some people around here talking about we are the American descendants of slaves. And the Most High God done said that the Queen of Sheba will judge this final generation. No wonder why they can't get reparations. He said you got to pay back. Pay them back double for what they have done to you. Revelation 18. Pay the slave master back double for what he has done to you. Revelation 18. Go read it. You can't walk up to no slave man and ask him to, yo, do you right and give you a handout for what he did to you. The Most High God said, do unto others as you will have them do unto you. The European told you to turn the other cheek. Roman Catholic Europeans told you to turn the other cheek so that they could keep enslaving you. The Most High God did not say that to those who have dominion. There are two groups on earth, the faithful and the unfaithful. And the unfaithful is broken down into two groups, the lost. I have not come to call the righteous, but the wicked. First to the Hebrew, then to the Gentile. Those are the two groups of the lost. The Europeans are the second group of the lost. the Gentiles, people of color, the descendants of David, the Hebrew descendants of David, are the first group of lost. I have not come to call the righteous. The righteous are the faithful. The faithful are those who in the beginning, he said, had dominion. So when he comes to the lost, the Hebrews and the Gentiles, and he says, turn the other cheek, it is because they have been unfaithful. They have not been humble. The meek shall inherit the earth. So if you are going to join the ranks of the faithful, you need to learn how to be humble. So you need to turn the cheek. But the faithful, they're going to be my rod and my staff to chastise and spank you. Do unto others as you will have them do unto you. The golden rule. You can't have the golden rule and have turn the other cheek. It's two separate groups. The golden rule goes for the faithful. The turn the other cheek goes to the vain, the conceited, the proud, the high-minded. He said, a haughty spirit goes before a fall. Those who put themselves in a place of prominence undeservedly, he said, I'm going to chop you down and lay you low. Turn the other cheek.
These notions of European superiority, African inferiority.
So let me show you something. Let me show you something. Show you what I'm talking about. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. First, I'm going to take you to Tyler Perry. Then I'm going to take you to my brother Spider Low. Tyler Perry represents these same people of color in present day who prop up the Aryan myths. Tyler Perry in this day represents the Jay-Z's, represents that going back to the days of the King of Kings, before the King of Kings, it's always been these people of color on the wrong side of morals, on the wrong side of character, on the wrong side of standards, on the wrong side. You always had these people of color, the Philistines, Pharaoh in Egypt, who knew not Joseph, meaning there were Nubian people of the same nation, of the same people who knew Joseph and were faithful. But this new Pharaoh, this new group of people, our people, knew not Joseph, knew not Joseph's God, was unfaithful, lawless, had a reprobate mind, and God broke his back. But somehow we confused. Somehow we confused when the same people in our community who knew not Joseph, who know not Joseph, who know nothing about the morals and the standards and the character of Joseph, who worship foreign idolatrous gods that our ancestors never worshiped. Pharaoh's idolatry was new. Pharaoh's idolatry wasn't commonplace. They point to Egypt as if Egypt was a bastion of idolatry. That was new to God. That was new to the Egyptians. That was new to Cush. And that's why God broke their back and it never came back. If that's who the Egyptians were, they could have resurrected it. They could have came back from the chastisement. Egypt has never come back because that was never who we were. And now you got Tyler Perry, you got Jay-Z, and you got all of these people of color. And all they got you doing is looking at the European that they support, the European that they worship, the European that they've enriched, the European that they've enslaved you to. All they got you doing is spinning your wheels while they make you think that they King of New York, says Jay-Z. All right, here it go. Here it go.
Meet Chris and Mark. They filtered a Bitcoin.
Here it go.
While Chris is using eToro to trade, resume production.
So we building studios now? SPI. SPI. Listen up, my brother. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Listen up, my brother SPI. This is for you. I'm going to explain it after I play it. We building studios, huh? Well, over here, we don't follow nobody.
He's got a 30-page plan for keeping the cast and crew safe from the coronavirus. Now, it is among the first studios in the country to reopen after the entire industry came to a halt amid this pandemic. So first on CBS This Morning, he let us go behind the scenes to take a look at the sprawl.
It is one of the first studios to reopen. Once again, they want you to gravitate to Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry is only doing that which the agenda, the Hollywood agenda, the Disney Hollywood agenda, to stoke these flames. And then these Judases, every millionaire, every billionaire, they got their millions and billions from the 30 pieces of silver to sell you and your family out. They don't touch a bag without shedding, without sacrificing the people from which the community that they came out. Judas could not secure the bag without the death of the king. And you better believe that these Judases, they are securing bag after bag. And the only reason why our people lose is because our people are not going out and being ahead. You identifying with Tyler Perry, so you claiming the work that he does represents our community. They don't represent our community. His morals don't represent our community, not mine. So that means if they building a studio with sound stages, and he gonna build a sound stage to represent represent Spike Lee, we building a sound stage represent Spider-Lope, because Spike Lee nor Tyler Perry represent us. But I done raised every last one of my children off of Spider-Lope, Curtis Norville Williams. And they building sound stages around Will Smith. He got a sound stage on this lot for Will Smith. Will Smith, 6 degrees of separation. Will Smith, who made the statement to the world for the rap industry that it was cool to get on screen and sleep with another man. All of these dudes is doing is making the statement. They willing to make the statement that the Europeans' lifestyle, we share it. Remember, European is a faith. It's a belief system. Europa is a goddess. That's worship. Anybody who is a European is engaged in worship. And it is a lifestyle of worship. And because we don't share the same worship, they need people from our community to sell out our morals and then brand their lifestyle on people in our community. So what? Our children will embrace the lifestyle of the European. Our children, our women, and what is the rap industry? It's full with money being thrown at people who live the prostitute European life. And then this man has erected a content monument to these sellouts and Judases in our community. And what I'm about to show you today, if you think getting the Nas and Jay-Z beef wrong 25 years ago did the damage that it did today, when you get this Tyler Perry Studios content wrong, the next 25 years is going to make the last 25 years look like Leave It to Beaver. What your families will look like in the next 25 years, if you don't correct this trash right now, it's going to make them hookers and them clowns in the rap industry look like Andy Griffith.
Sprawling is the word. Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta to see how safety is being made a priority on his set.
Delta and Echo, Mark.
Tyler Perry has very ambitious plans to film the new seasons on his 4 TV shows, all while keeping the 360 people on his production team safe from coronavirus. He's calling it Camp Quarantine.
Camp Quarantine.
Let's go get this. All right.
All cast and crew are required to live on site for each 2-week production. And to limit exposure, Perry is flying in actors from LA and New York on private flights. Wearing a mask and social distancing are strictly enforced.
Everybody social distancing, hand sanitizing, 6 feet.
And medical staff test everyone every 3 to 4 days. The media mogul even constructed new buildings on his Atlanta lot to provide housing on site.
He built new buildings to provide housing. Y'all act like we don't have no content creators. This why I'm giving a tribute to my brother Spider Lope. Because while all the rest of y'all been running around here, this man since 2006, independently, when nobody else was supporting with their funds, independently, building studios, independently, shot his own movies, independently. I seen him for 2 years straight. Drop a mixtape every month for 2 years straight. Unheard of. Clowns in the industry like 50 Cent stole the concept of going and launching an interactive site and an interactive community in 2006 and 2007, SPI in the streets. And then 50 Cent, who ain't got no business skills, just like Jay-Z don't, none. Go and launch thisis50.com after he see my brother. While all of y'all want to sit back and like ADOS, y'all want to go to the slave master and say, yo, give us reparations. Ain't nobody give Noah nothing. Ain't nobody give David nothing. If you a king and somebody got to give you something, I don't get it. How y'all people of color, y'all claim y'all descendants of kings and y'all run around here like paupers, like somebody got to give you back what they took from you. You definitely ain't come up where I came up from. First of all, can't nobody take nothing from me.
Oh no.
Can't nobody take
Did your
nothing.
game just get interrupted by an update?
Nobody I love.
It's switching time to a...
And if they do, you better believe we going to get it back. My man Spider Lope tell a story about how his mama, somebody took his bike. He went home without his bike. His mama went around the corner.
Chromebook that updates automatically.
Church woman, woman of God.
Switch to updates without interruption.
Woman of God.
Switch.
I don't want to hear nothing about what y'all talking about.
To Chromebook.
You ain't a woman of God if you ain't willing to protect that which God gave you.
Resume production. He's got a 30-page plan.
You an imposter. You're a phony. You're a fake. If you won't stand up and defend that which the world is trying to destroy, because some European told you to turn the other cheek. And they claim that they Christians and they ain't never turned a cheek. You still turning cheeks. The European that taught you to turn your cheek has never once ever turned their cheek, has never once stopped slapping people. It's a one-way discourse with their Christianity. And you always on the receiving end, and you always the one applying the Christianity and the humility. And man, get out of here, yo. The king we serve turned over tables of the money changers. He fixed the problem immediately. You want to take something from my people? I'm taking it back. Where was turn the other cheek at? Huh? Where y'all get y'all doctrine from? Your slave masters. Everything that they teach you in Christianity goes directly against everything that the Creator lived. Not one principle that they told you that you guided your life by is present in his life. Turn the other cheek. First thing he did, he went to the temple and he got a whip. He braided 3 cords together and he physically whipped every person in there that has stolen from his children. Physically whipped them, took the money, and then gave it to the poor in Jerusalem. Where is your Christian doctrine at? Who are y'all? This is the rap industry. This is NBA. And this is who y'all support with y'all consumption. This is Jay-Z.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Warden,
This is
board-certified
50 Cent.
plastic surgeon
This
and
is
host
Lil
of The
Wayne.
Doctors. Sono Bello can remove stubborn body fat permanently and in
Teacups ready because this tea is what? Piping hot. Hey you guys, it's your girl T and I hope everybody's doing good today. Make sure you guys have your teacups ready.
Get ready. Y'all get ready.
Yes, you get ready. Because this tea is what? Piping hot. Hey y'all, so I know I've been gone for a few ocean.
This is your
Saying that you know what, the most beautifulest so-called black women are usually brown skinned. They're never darker than a Gabrielle Union. You know, I don't care what anybody says. Black women with African features like Lupita Nyong'o, they're not cute. They're only cute when the lights are off.
Black women are not cute. They're ugly. Women who are cute are like Gabrielle Union, no darker than Gabrielle Union. This is Gilbert Arenas, NBA player. They all do this. But 25 years ago, Jay-Z was the first. Jay-Z was, listen, man, Jay-Z, they crowned him King of New York. And because the whole world talk about he a great businessman, this clown ain't never ran no business. Dame Dash ran Rockefeller. Russell Simmons ran Def Jam. Leo Cohen and Rick Rubin have run every company that this clown has been in. He has been a face, a model, mocking our people, and y'all reward him with consumption. And then all of the basketball players, all of the football players, all of these rappers, and then we got kings like Nipsey Hussle who come out and who analyze this situation and say, I ain't nothing like none of y'all rap niggas. And then he goes and he puts science, technology, engineering, arts, and math labs in the hood. He goes and builds a co-op workspace where people who have businesses and want to launch their business in the hood. He creates the very first store, not any store, the very first digital store where you could bypass the record labels and bypass everything, because he could sell his digital merchandise along with every single piece of clothing sold out of this clothing store. So you ain't got to go to the record label. All he had to do was put up his stores all across the country. And then whenever people go in and buy his t-shirts or whatever, assigned to each tag, he will put content of different media that they could also purchase directly through his store. What is that doing? Bypass the whole record label. And if everybody in the industry followed that model, these industry execs who have no talent, who have no skill, who are simply vultures, will be out of our people's lives forever. And what do? They kill my man Nipsey Hussle. And then y'all go back to supporting Jay-Z in this industry that destroys our women. Only got cats like Spider Loke and Nas. Nas for 25 years been telling y'all about exactly what I'm telling y'all. But our people keep voting with Jay. Then Spider gets in the industry in 2006. Spider been standing up in the industry against all of these cats. 50 Cent, T.I., Snoop Dogg. And he been telling you could count on me.
Tupac of my generation, and Pac was hot.
I'm gonna play it for you again. Just SPI's verse. Listen to what he tell you. Listen to what he tell you.
News made major breaking.
Manhood. Be about your manhood at all costs. You could count on me. When it comes to mankind, I'm going to set the example. I'm going to walk the walk and talk the talk, and I'm going to live it. And I'm going to hold all of these clowns accountable. Be about your mankind at all costs. You can count on me. When it comes to motherhood, we're going to raise these daughters. We're going to make sure that these cats treat these daughters. By the way, I got 3 of them. Talk about Spider. I got 2 of them. It's going to be a price to pay for disrespecting women. It's going to be a price to pay. To Tyler Perry and anybody else who get on stage and try and make a mockery of our queens. You can count on me.
Mathematical mogul, marathoning, making moves taken. The heartbreaking news made major breaking news. Nephews, nieces, siblings, seeds, they confused. Waking up shaking, aching, praying that it's April Fools. Chosen child from the now down, stakes is huge. Snakes and fakes straddling the gate, it's too late to choose. Through violent visions gave victory, paid your dues. Motivated, demonstrated elevated views. Truths don't die, we multiply, I ain't make the rules. Self-medicate, meditate and celebrate the blues. Neighborhood, roller coaster, you can take the cruise, I'm good. Blue laces, suede Puma's favorite shoes. Jesus to the generation, you never say me on my babies. Most beautiful gift Pluto ever gave me. For such a precious life, who decides price? I couldn't feel the slide twice, cuz they crucified Christ.
I used to know that I could count on. To know I could count on you. So, I'm gonna pause right here. I don't want this one to be too long. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do a series on this subject, and I'm gonna show you how the choice to consume content of these individuals that don't represent your morals, your standards, it comes at the price to the very family that you claim you love. Everybody has to make a choice, a purchasing power choice. Why? Because by beholding, you become changed. And when you tell the European it's okay to disrespect our women, when you let the European tell our children it's okay to live any lifestyle that they want, when these rappers run out here and say, like Snoop Dogg, that it's okay to have Super Gay Cuz as my #1 fan. When you let these rappers, and you know that your young people are looking at these individuals, when you do not put together and pull resources together to create your own entities, to tell the stories, to define, to create. If you know your children are dying to be fashion statements and dying to be beautiful and promote fashion and all of that, and you are not in control of fashion brands, you have failed them. If you know your children are dying to promote and showcase the skills that only they possess in recreation, and you do not control any of the entities, you have said it is okay for you to exploit and abuse my children because I haven't taken the initiative to be the head and define the terms of how the world consumes that which my child is going to create. Lawyer Cohen can't put no contract. Nike and Adidas can't put no contract. And because my children are the best, my people's children are the best in the world, that means we got to control the fashion that they wear. We got to control the studios. Tyler Perry can't build no studio. If Tyler Perry is building a studio that is 300 square feet, then we building a studio that's 1,600 square feet. That's how far behind all of these content creators have to be left. That's the only way we take back our images, our communities, the banking systems. And that's the only thing that's acceptable. We not running around here talking about, yo, I understand what my brother and sister was trying to do, but we are not the American descendants of slaves. And if you do not know that, then in this series, I will also show you how every page in history that you turn that a European has not written, you will see the Nubian Kushite individuals of color dominating on every patch of land that they call continents on this globe. And if you don't have that knowledge and information, then you need to tap into this series. The spot where we streaming this at is on Holywood Studios 4D TV on YouTube. Holywood Studios 4D TV. SPI, we're proud of you, homie. And we gonna tell the story. It's hard for our kings to go back. Our kings have done so much work crushing these clowns. And see, when they go back and they point to how they crush these clowns, it's almost like they beating a dead horse. It's hard for them to come back and toot their own horn. It's your job when individuals put out content that represents something of value that you can hand down to your young people. It's your job to support that through consumption. And then when individuals put out content that is damaging and detrimental, it is your job to fast from consumption. It's your job to step back from the table and say, yo, you won't get a dime. You will not thrive here. In the business of saving lives, Dr. Life. Be about your man, be about your marathon at all.